That's not in the spirit of the game, Travis.
Come on, man. It's competitive. He didn't hit it out of her. It's always like smashed it at her. He just hit a normal ball at her.
Well, he could have just hit it to the open court.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
What about Hayden teeing off on you when you guys are playing? And
you laughed at me.
That's part of the game, bro.
You literally, I didn't even know it. I looked back for you, and you turned and laughed at me. That's insane.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be like, don't do that to my partner. I'm gonna take. You didn't do that. You laughed.
You deserved it.
Oh, 100%.
You totally deserved it.
say it like that again.
Tifosi.
Do you know what? One more time.
Tifosi.
You know what that means? Tell the people what that means.
So, tifosi is the Italian word for superfan, and that is exactly who they make their eyewear for.
And all this talk about the crazy paddles, eyewear, more important than ever.
I think yours is they're probably slightly better suited than mine.
Yours are for styling
look
around.
great. I'm about to go to Italy on my honeymoon, and you're not getting these back.
Me,
Tifosi.
I feel like maybe I'm either blind or the Terminator, but on the court, I think these are exactly what you would need. Do you think that if these paddles don't slow down a little bit, that eyewear is just going to be like, you got to wear eyewear? Like, what if they get even faster? This is a total tangent.
Oh boy, if they get faster, we're in trouble. I mean, you can already tell like how many more people are wearing eyewear now compared to last year. Like I think Anna Lee was like the only one who was wearing eyewear last year, and now like probably at least a third of the tour is. So yeah, it's gonna be I could almost see it being like the helmet in football. Like it could be required at the pro game at some point.
Well, Tifosi Glide technology allows the frame to slide on comfortably and provide an anti-bounce fit. Is that anti-bounce? Did I say that right? With an integral hinge ensuring these sunglasses slide on easily without pulling your hair, which is an issue for you, obviously.
Nah, my hair, look, your hair is all like flowy and...
You got like a fade going.
It's not going to pull against a fade. It would pull against that.
Yeah, correct. Crafted from shatterproof polycarbonate, these lenses not only reduce glare, but also offer scratch resistance, ensuring unparalleled eye protection. Hydrophilic rubber nose pads that increase grip the more you sweat, so glasses will stay secure during even the most intense activities. Now, that is where it would benefit you a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
TifosiOptics.com. That's TIFOSI optics.com. All caps DINK 20% off. It is live now. Go to TifosiOptics.com and get your eyewear because the paddles are getting faster. You don't want to lose an eyeball.
So I'm stealing these.
They're yours, dude.
Oh, hell yeah. Sweet. Thank you, Tifosi. Let's go. I'm wearing these on the honeymoon.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie,
All right, I think we're live. It is what it is. Travis, I have an opening question for you.
Wow.
Did you write your own Wikipedia?
No.
Are you sure?
100%.
Some suspect stuff on there. I've never read a Wikipedia and it says like citations needed, but it's like
Do tell. What does it say?
Well, it's just so the opening summary.
Yeah.
It's like Rettenmaier is the highest ranked ATP player to play pickleball. Citation needed. With a previous ranking of 57, reached in 2010.
That sounds a little old.
Rettenmaier is now a full-time professional pickleball player with an intense interest in the growth and business of pickleball. Do you have an intense interest in the growth and business of pickleball?
I do. On the recreational side, for sure. On the professional side, I'm still a skeptic.
Yeah, I like that.
We're gonna have to dive into that.
Yeah. Let's get into that because I've actually been having a lot of conversations about that lately. Like, what is the future of pickleball as a spectator sport? We've talked about it a bunch, but you're a new insight, a new perspective on this. So, what are your thoughts? Give me the gist.
This is an exciting addition to the stuff that Travis had already mentioned. This is gonna be a fire podcast. This is gonna be some good stuff. Travis, lead it off.
I'm not going to throw any punches. So yeah, I'm not sold on the idea that it's a great spectator sport yet. You know, I think it has a cult following and a niche following, but I think Zane actually was the one who kind of illuminated this idea that you spread the goalposts a little wider, the post a little wider, you make the game more dynamic. I don't think the recreational game is going anywhere. I think with, the participation Doesn't take a rocket scientist to walk any park and see 50, 60 people waiting for 6 courts, which is why we're building a facility in St. Pete. You know, we kind of want to capitalize on that momentum, and we want to change the fabric of where we live because, you know, obviously pickleball has changed our lives. However, as a junkie myself, and I know Zane doesn't watch that much pickle. Like, I watch nonstop. I've watched every match Zane and I played probably 5 times. Zane, how many times have you watched them?
0.
So, you know, for me, it's very intriguing. Like, I like the game. But if I'm an outside spectator, the general thing that I hear over and over is I don't watch anything and think like, wow, I could never do that. Like, you watch LeBron dunk and you think, I could never do that. It's impossible. I have to see it. As long as the game and the posts are set in the manner that they are, and the game is so stationary, and you have these kind of sedentary looking athletes who are overweight, man boobs, whatever, that is not going to cater well to a fan base that's interested in watching it.
Yeah. I recently saw a report that even like I just think like creating a spectator sport is harder now than it's ever been because where people consume content is so fragmented, right? Yeah. Everybody has their own go-to. So it's difficult to consolidate everybody to one place and get those viewership numbers to where they need to be in order to command these big rights deals and sponsorships. But even golf, down 20% this year in viewership.
Like you said, we're looking at fragmentation with Live and PGA. That's all it took.
Yeah.
And even the players are commenting on that, right? Like, people are losing interest. Nobody knows what anything is worth anymore, what they're playing for. Nobody gives a shit. So yeah, our fragmentation is even, more so. And as you said, just with social media and how people consume their content and consume their entertainment, it's a very, very competitive landscape, and we don't know where we fit in yet.
Yeah,
right.
You can get access to any obscure sport you want, right? Like anything you want is on YouTube, endless amounts of content. So quick note, unrelated note, this is going to be the last episode of the Stop Alzheimer's Now swear jar. So
let's load that up.
All right. So just so you know, it's $20. It's $20 a pop. We're both paying. We're both paying. You're up to 80 already.
Damn. I take the Lord's name in vain whenever I want.
All right, so we'll start it now. We'll start the tally now, Sean. All right, but we've had a great run. We've earned a lot of money. We've cleaned up the potty mouth significantly. Donated a lot of money to Stop Alzheimer's Now. Yeah, and we also had Pro XR and Game Plus matching our potty mouths for a while, but I think it's time to end that with a bang. So from here on out, it's $20 a pop. Use that information however you'd like, but yeah, send it. You have my blessing. I don't know if you have Thomas's blessing, but you have my blessing. So
hey, I'll match it. Whatever, it's all good.
Love it. Appreciate that.
We'll bleep out the first few. There's some sort of theory that you can't swear in the first 5 minutes. I still don't know if that's true or not, but
I've heard something similar. Bleep out those first couple. Bleep out the first couple. That way Sean doesn't fine us.
But all right, so consensus, just to put a bow on that, is eliminate the man boobs and widen the net posts.
That's the original. That's the first. I think the secondary is like, coming from tennis as I did, it's a very hard sport to market as well as it's done. I don't think you can market individual players very well. I think that's where MLP becomes so intriguing, because you potentially have players that alter the fabric of their community, are associated with a city, maybe do clinics, events, and actually feel like they're a part of it. That's where I think there's, maybe some big upside with MLP as opposed to just the standard individual tournament format. I don't think that's marketable. I just don't.
So you were probably pretty stoked when they were talking about having home and away type of matches.
That's all I've ever said will work. Yeah. Like, in my opinion, it's a slow death unless that takes place.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, like, getting to actually know some of these people in your community. Like, when you go to the park at St. Pete, like, I'm sure it's got to be so hard to even really play a game, because there's got to be people coming up to you constantly just, like, talking, oh, wow, that's Travis. Travis is our local pro type of thing.
Kind of. But fortunately, like, I came before I even started playing. So, like, my initial, I'll swear jar right away. My initial reception was like, what's up, fucker? How you doing? It was never like, you're a great player. I mean, it's come more towards that now, which is, it's not the easiest for me. I prefer the derelict, part of the normal. I like that better. But yeah, certainly they want to know about the tour. no, man, like my thing is like, I just look at the way that Graham and I in particular have been able to kind of alter pickleball in St. Pete. And I think if we were able to have a team here and having home and away, how the support we would have would be incredible. And these people would actually tie to it. Yes, they're tied to me directly, but a team, my God, like they would just be loading it up.
Right.
Yeah. So do you want to talk a little bit about just what St. Pete means to you? Like when you got into pickleball, you know, it's something that I, you know, it's a story that you've told me. I don't know if it's something that you care to share, but why is St. Pete so like near and dear to your heart at this point?
Oh man, that's an easy one. So August 29th, 2021, my divorce began. I was not living in St. Pete. I was living in Bradenton in a job I didn't enjoy. It paid well relative to most tennis gigs. I was working for a family independently. And let's just say life blew up. Like everything went south. Divorce was starting and it was ugly. And didn't like my job, didn't like my existence, and came to stay with a friend, Chris Marquez in St. Pete, laying on the couch depressed. And he kind of took me to Crescent Lake by chance. I played with like a 60-year-old lady who told me I was taking balls in the middle. But there was this like very unique like cheers atmosphere there that I was attracted to. And I started walking in, getting that acceptance of people making fun of me and people. So I would basically like drive to work in Bradenton, 40 miles, drive back and get to the course about 5:30, and I'd shut it down every night, like 5:30 to 9, boom, every day. And Graham and I became fast friends. I actually didn't like him at first. I thought he was really odd. He was definitely on the spectrum, definitely weird. He was actually sitting watching rec play in a golf cart, and I was like, who does that? It's so weird.
Kind of alpha.
We started talking about some ideas to like in pickleball. He shot down everyone I had because he doesn't have a filter at all. So I was like, dude, I think we should do this. He's like, that's dumb. You'll never make it. I think we should do this. Nope, that's not going to work. All right. And so, you know, slowly but surely, these people just kind of saw that maybe I had some talent for it, that I had a previous existence, and they were uplifting. They were like, what do you need to go play? You should do this. You can do this. They started finding me sponsors for money. They started giving me, you know, more than anything, just like community, friendship, support. And so, like, that's why I got the tattoo of Crescent Lake. Like, I'm forever indebted to that place and those people, and that will not change.
That's pretty cool story. I like that.
It's deeper than that, but I think I'll keep it PG-13 for now.
Yeah, right. I think some people have that like home court. Others are. I think it's a little more.
I think I'm the only pro that genuinely plays with 4-0 to 5-0 guys 4 nights a week. I think that's probably only me, but I'm fucking cool with that. I like that.
Yeah, I can't say I do that.
Yeah, but Zane refuses to play with me, so
way too bougie, bro.
Yeah.
When I go back home to Wisconsin, I do. I play with my dad and that crew and stuff, but like that's few and far between at this point.
Nah, but these are my peoples. Like, I mean, I walk in and literally they treat me like I'm trash half the time, which I like.
But now you're opening your own facility.
Yeah, and we have it about 2 miles from the mecca of Crescent Lake. It's called St. Pete Athletic. It's at a spot called the Factory, which is about 1.5 miles from downtown. 16 indoor, 2 padel, 4,000 square foot event space. I mean, it's legit. It'll be a top 3 to 5 facility in the country, I would wager. And Graham, you got to credit him, man. Like, the guy is just a savant when it comes to rallying people and getting funding and making people excited about like what's to come.
You gonna put a shower in there?
There will be a nice little locker room in there. Yeah, hopefully Graham will shower from time to time. I'm glad you picked up on that because he's stanky as hell.
I mean, it just absolutely blew my mind.
It is just filth.
The clip's very funny. If you go to the Tennis Sucks Instagram, they're talking and all of a sudden like Graham like subtly is like, yeah, I'm back to showering like regularly again, but not every day. And they go, what do you mean not every day?
Right. 6 months at one house and then 6 months at another. The one house has a pool, so he'll jump in the pool. That's his shower. And then at the other, like the condo, the apartment, which is another story. Graham actually, when I first moved here, found me an apartment to live in. He furnished it. You know, like I'll get choked up about Graham, but in that particular place, like he won't shower. So we'll hit in the morning. It's 90 degrees here, 100% humidity. He'll come the evening at Crescent Lake and he's wearing the same shit. It's like, dude, you haven't showered? No. Are you kidding me? No. Why would I shower? I'm going to just sweat again. It's like, God, dude, you have a girlfriend, like, poor girl. But, you know, that's Graham.
So I can't not dive into this a little bit more. I know this isn't a podcast
the whole
about Graham,
episode.
but like, Maybe we should have called him in on this too. Maybe we'll schedule another
No,
pod with him.
we don't want his defense. He'll give you some like holistic thing that the oils are good for his skin and this is the right way to do it. It's nonsense.
But jumping in pool water is his way of showering, like chlorine and stuff.
That is his quote unquote shower. He says he uses wet wipes because the one area I was most concerned about is obviously, the lower half. But yeah, outside of that, he just jumps in the pool water, puts the same clothes back on, and comes back out of the pool.
Puts the same clothes back on afterwards.
And he hangs them up, lets them dry, and let's go back to it.
Like, you think the guy's got multiple pairs of clothes, right? Like, at least, a handful.
And the guy's got some loot. Like, this has nothing to do with money, or it's just, I can't wrap my head around it either. I don't get it. But forever, it's easy to make fun of,
This is this is news to me. So
this is very pickleball though.
He's
like
always
pickleball
like
is misfits.
Like, he's a very handsome, he looks like a baby skin kind of guy. Can't even grow a beard, but no, he's stanky.
Okay. Wow. Okay, Graham. Yeah. Well.
But all right. So let's touch on that though. Like, I feel like pickleball is this weird eclectic group of misfits, and it brings in people from all walks of life. So there's like two segments of pickleball right now. One is like, it's almost like trendy on TikTok. The girls put on their cute outfits and like, it's all these like lax bros, and they go and they kind of play casually. But like the true junkies who play at like your court in St. Pete, they're like these weird sort of misfits that have found this thing. And those are the people who are online at the tournaments, like watching every weekend. And there's something very unique and cool about it,
right?
that.
Like, you have, even in our park, and this is what was hard to understand as I was becoming a Crescent like OG or like local whatever, is there were dudes there that were CEOs legitimately of Fortune 500 companies, and then on the same court, and they look like trash, and on the same court you got a guy who's the janitor at the local high school, and they're playing together,
right?
And in that moment, like, they are no better than the other dude. Mm-hmm. They're just straight up, and that was so unique to me. It was like you said, this misfit crowd that finally found something that is accepting of, no matter what your educational background is, what your political background is, your athletic background, that everybody's playing together. It was like, this is cool.
Right.
And I use this terminology, like, I thought before pickleball, I hated people. I had a very difficult time conversing with people from like a wide range of backgrounds. And now it's like, I love everybody. Like, I want to know their stories. But like, some people are pricks, but majority of people, I want to know their stories, where they're from, what they do. And pickleball kind of gave me that option, because now I talk to people that are janitors, CEOs, tall, white, fat, short, black, thin, gay, whatever, and we're all
man boobs.
Man boobs, you said.
A lot of fat man boobs out there, yeah.
Yeah, it's only a problem on the pro court.
That is so cool, though, right? Like, yeah, obviously we know, pickleball is known for being any age, right? But you don't really hear about people talking about, it's really cool because you have poor people who can play. You also have rich people who are obsessed with this sport too, right? Like, it is cross income just as much as it's like cross age and whatnot. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't play tennis much anymore, but I went and hit with my girlfriend the other day, and I went and got 2 rackets strong. It's like $80 for 2 rackets and 2 sets of string. It was like, damn. Like, pickleball is so accessible. You don't have to have wealth. You don't have to have a background. That's so unique.
So, is Graham the strangest guy you've met in pickleball? Or who would you say strangest? Yeah, who's the biggest misfit that you know in pickleball?
Well, see, define strange, because like, Graham to me is a positive kind of strange. I've met
there's nothing wrong with strange.
Yeah, no, I met some really ugly human beings who are deceptive. Like, the thing I like about Graham, and I use this term a lot, like, I would prefer an honest asshole than a deceptive nice guy. Graham is definitely a nice guy, but he's the honest asshole. Like, he's going to tell you straight at all times. And yeah, he's super odd. The other thing that's unique about him is he like finds a passion, whether it was real estate prior, one wheeling, or pickleball now, and he's like fully invested in that thing only. So yeah, I would say he's probably the strangest, but in the most positive sense that I can give. There are some really ugly, even on tour, as you know, some really ugly, bizarre, fake, nice human beings.
Yeah, that's fair. Mine's Gizmo. Have you ever met Gizmo Hall?
Nah.
Gizmo was
that's the guy, the dreads guy with the weird, I got you.
With the hamburger stuff. Yeah. Dude's a legend.
I haven't seen much of him lately.
I haven't seen him at all.
He used to be around.
He used to be around all the time,
all over Facebook, like at the tournaments.
Didn't he have sponsors or something? They were like supporting his pursuit.
He was helping like inmates play pickleball.
Yeah, he was like growing the game in prisons.
Yeah. Which is cool. Maybe they should put pickleball courts on these college campuses where all the protests are right now, and everybody just come together. We'll put an end to it.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Like let's
That's what Steve Kuhn would say. Steve Kuhn pickleball will save the world. That's Steve Kuhn original right there.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Okay, going back to something you touched on, the prestige of different tournaments, building up the importance and making people care that, like, okay, who cares if somebody wins a PPA Masters? What does it mean? I actually polled everybody who works at the Dink, and I was like, I just put it in Slack, did a poll. I was like, what's the most prestigious tournament in pickleball? Because I saw a newsletter go out that said the U.S. Open is the most prestigious tournament in pickleball. And I was like, is it? And it got me thinking, well, what is? And what tournaments do people actually care about? And I want to hear from you two. What are those tournaments that kind of jump out at you as, like, you know, the Masters of pickleball or some equivalent?
Yeah. I don't have one. I never even paid attention to points or anything. I don't care. I could care less. The only thing that like held significant weight to me was the MLP events. That was like, I want to play those. But as far as PPA events, 1 day progressive draw, I could care less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, most prestigious. That's probably correct from an amateur perspective or somebody who like loosely follows the game. It's probably the U.S. Open or Nationals because they're just slightly different, right? Because
and also they have the names, U.S. Open.
They have the names. They're not just another PPA tour stop.
Right.
I would say, you know, if there's an individual event that the majority of players are looking to do the best at, I would have to guess it would be the PPA Tour Finals. But, you know, we've only had one of those so far.
But are you pursuing that, Zane? Like, do you genuinely care if your point tally is enough? Are you going to play enough events to get to, like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, it'd be great if I get there, but I'm not like.
I'm not losing sleep and play that much.
Right. So
I don't think it. I mean, even like with, you know, Fed unseating Ben, and Fed's the new number one, but like everybody who watches a little bit of pickleball doesn't buy that for a second. Like maybe in points, but nobody really cares about it. Like good for Fed, congratulations Fed, but like it just lacks
he's the
that.
Best singles player in the world. He's the best.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. So
Fed is?
Do you think that's a legit world number one?
Yeah, because I agree with you. If they went head to head purely him against Ben, I think Ben has a winning record and Ben will maintain.
Yeah, I think it's 9-2.
Yeah,
that's a purely a matchup based issue.
Isn't that what it should be? Like if you're trying to figure out who's the
No, not necessarily, because if Federico doesn't lose to the players that Ben loses to, then he's, you know, harder to beat to other players.
Mm-hmm.
So he has, you know, a different set of skills that makes him maybe more challenging for a player like Connor Garnett or whomever. And I'm just throwing that out. I know Connor just beat him in the finals of LA. But I think that his consistency has showcased that, yeah, he's not taking L's in the quarters. He's not taking L's in the round of 16. Like the guy week after week has been final. It's pretty crazy. 9 straight weeks. Like,
yeah, he has 9 straight finals.
Yeah, that's like, I don't understand how you can make the case right now that he's not the best singles player in the world. Now, with that said, if they're playing one match and it was him or Ben and I have to choose, I take Ben.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. But if I have to take 32 players and pick who's going to the final, I take Fed.
Yeah, no, that's the same. I agree with you there. Like, I think Fed is just so consistent. Fed never loses a match to probably anybody outside of the top 5. And he rarely loses a match to the people in the top 5.
Right.
So
and I think even in the finals, he's had, you know, like he shouldn't have lost to Dylan when he lost in the Masters. He shouldn't have lost to Connor when he lost in LA. Like he's had losses that he shouldn't have taken in the final. Call it a mental block, getting a little tight, whatever. But when I watch him, it's like, dude, that's a tough out, especially with a new paddle. Like, tough out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting stat here. So he's 2-9 against Ben, 6-2 against Tyson, but has won the last 3 meetings. 5-22 against J-Dub.
Whoa.
But obviously that's going back.
Dude, like he lost like the first 14 to him.
Right. So that's going to be going back for a while. But yeah.
I mean, I won the first match against Fed, Punta Gorda.
Attaboy. Number 1 head to head. Are you still head to head? Positive?
Hell no. I played like 5 times in a row after, lost every time.
So far in singles, he's 38-5 and has made every singles final. His ranking rating at the start of 2024 was 7.045, and he's now at 7.194, the number one duper as well. So he's got the number one rating of any singles player on top of that, which
that sounds fair.
So I think Travis and I are in agreement that he's a legit number one, but I think Ben, as you mentioned, in a head-to-head, is probably a slight favorite in that matchup.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if that'll stay that way for long. Like I still think Ben has more of a glaring weakness than Fed. But
Which is what?
He doesn't have a backhand pass. Fed
is a little more dynamic. Like Ben, if he passes two hands, he goes line almost every time. Fed can kind of roll a two-way cross.
Right.
Makes it more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And he moves better.
Interesting. Okay.
He moves better, but do you think he covers better than Ben?
Not at the net. I mean, Ben's unique in that he's actually not, I don't think he's a great mover, but he's super efficient and blankets the net really well. But Fed at the baseline, the guy moves so well.
So Fed is probably a better scorer. Ben is a better defender.
Sure, I could give you that.
Yeah, so it's probably the best defense versus the best offense in pickleball, if I had to guess that matchup.
Yeah, I'd wager that. That's a good call. I mean, it's an intriguing matchup.
All right, so this is a little bit of an exhausted topic, but this whole, tennis versus pickleball. What'd you think about your boy Christian Alshon going against Kyrgios, Roddick, James Blake, and a handful of other, talking heads within the tennis world, claiming that pickleball requires more skill? You have experience at the top of both sports.
I wouldn't say the top of tennis, but
what's it take? Well, your Wikipedia, which you wrote yourself, seems to think you're a pretty good tennis player.
I mean, at the time, I think I was the highest ranked tennis player. That's shifted. Yeah. So easy there, Thomas. But with that said, yeah, I think James said it best. Like, if you don't have experience, which obviously Christian doesn't, he was low rent, D3, something like that, tennis player.
Hey,
low rent is tough.
Hey, now.
I didn't mean that as an insult to you. And you have alternate skills, including social ones. So you can fucking be a normal person. I didn't think much of it. I think it's just a clickbait thing. The dude just wants some attention, and I get it. Like that's a strategy that people employ. If he really believes that, then head needs to be checked.
Let me just argue with you, okay?
Yes, good. But I was hoping you might.
I don't agree with Christian, but in a given point, all right, it's easier to slap your way through tennis points than it is to construct pickleball points. You can get away with talent in tennis better than you can with simply talent in pickleball. There's more point construction in pickleball than there is tennis.
Say this. There's more nuance and subtlety in pickleball. But what he said was it makes you a better athlete, that reaction time, that's ludicrous. To say a better athlete is insane. To say maybe my hand speed has improved, or I've learned more subtlety, more dexterity in my hands, and a wider range of skills, I might even be able to be maybe. But as soon as you use the term athlete, and right now I'm watching Lehechka versus Auger Aliassime, dude, these guys are specimens, okay? Specimens. I walk around the pickleball, and I used to walk around, U.S. Open and so forth, the tennis U.S. Open. These are not specimens. These are low rent. These are specimens. These are low rent. I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion. It's just fact.
I think we can probably solve this entire debate by just comparing the amount of man boobs on the men's pro tour to the
fact I'm 40 and can be competitive. Come on, man. Come on.
All right, that was the best justification that I could. That was the best counter argument that I could make for the skill gap. So
man breasts, yeah, got it.
But he did a good job of getting some good Twitter engagement. He's going for that Twitter premium.
There might be a bet coming soon of him playing against James Blake in some sort of specialized format.
Yeah,
I saw that.
You've heard about that?
So we talked about it briefly. It seems to have fizzled out slightly. I haven't heard anything about it, but once again, this was actually on I think when we did a podcast with Riley a few weeks ago, but it was Christian is playing tennis with the tennis racket, normal tennis. James Blake is playing tennis with his hands, catch and throw every single shot.
Yeah.
Who actually do you think wins that, Travis?
Not allowed to comment on it.
You're not allowed to comment on it.
What?
No, not allowed to comment.
Big Pickle got to him too.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You're not
Hey
allowed
man,
to
I got
comment.
money on this.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, we'll have to. So do you know anything about it actually happening then?
I know what the outcome will be.
Well, yeah, great. Thanks for sharing, asshole.
I do not know if it's actually happening. The word is probably, like you said, it was big early on. There was a lot of jibber jabber back and forth, as happens, a lot of ego going back and forth. I don't think it will actually take place.
That's a bummer.
I think unfortunately, someone will get to someone, and there will be a discussion, and that won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of wagers, you kind of burst on the scene with your calling out of NML pickleball, like probably 18 months ago. That you said that these two guys were a couple of nerds from Canada that you could beat 2-on-1. What the hell happened to that match?
So this is sad because we had the largest sports bar in Florida. It's called Ferg's. It's right here down the street. My whole intention with it was doing it here so that people would get hammered. We stream it. We make it fun. We make it an event. It wasn't really directed like, let's go do this at a park with no one watching. We were told by the powers that be that if we did it in Florida with the gambling laws as such, that I would be walked off in cuffs. I got enough fucking problems. I can tell you that much right now. I don't need to be walked off in cuffs. So that kind of shot it in the foot. And then it was like, all right, we had a guy that was trying to find a place in New Orleans and basically a legal gambling state that we could do it in. It didn't really appeal to me as much to not do it here. And then the season started and it was like we were going tournament, and it just faded out. And that's on me. It wasn't on them. They kept trying to get me to do it, but they wanted to do it at a place like, let's just go to the local park in Louisiana and do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it like that. Like, I want people there. I want kegs of beer. I want a build up. I want it to be like something that we can promote, and it just didn't work out.
I had 5K against you on that with Tim Parks, and we were going to fly in those boys to Austin to come train with me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, that's smart. If they had trained with you, then they would have learned real quick they can't win.
Yeah. No, they can't lose. So that's actually how I trained. Like when I was back in Wisconsin, I was no, there's no chance. They were going to beat you.
5-5s here all the time.
But there's a very specific strategy to playing 2-on-1. I could train 2 4-5s to beat you in 2-on-1.
I mean, I'll take that bet all day.
4.75s maybe. It depends. Not duper.
I'm 5'8", 140. Okay, I'm 6'2". Although you have a little more juice on the roll, but okay. What's the strategy? Just give me the strategy because I'm not buying that. I never lose this, by the way. 5-5 and below, I never lose this.
Yeah, fair. It depends whether you're going duper.
5-5 and below.
5-5 and below, I never lose.
2v1.
2v1. I play 2 5-5s here. I never lose.
All right. How many times have you done this?
100.
So my only experience with this is when my little brother's like he's probably closer to a 5 now, but he was like a 4 or 5 at best at the time. I'm probably in the 5-0 vicinity. We beat Jay DeVilliers pretty easily in Michigan. Wow. We have it on film too.
Jay was screwing around. There's no chance.
Oh no, he was getting
no chance.
No, he was getting.
I don't lose. So I mean, like maybe it's possible, and if there is a strategy, which I'm not saying that's not true. That's definitely possible. I just haven't seen it yet. Generally, what happens is the guys are a little bit intimidated by the force of the drive, and they pop up the ball off the drive. And of course, I play like a kamikaze style. It's not like we're having long, arduous points. I fucking drive and crash every ball.
So I would say, like, when I was doing that, I was beating 5-5 and above very consistently the first few times. Once I played them a handful of times, they started to figure out the strategy. Basically, I was still scoring a lot of points on my serve. That's not going to change. You're going to score on your own serve a bunch. The strategy on defense is third shots as somewhat drops, and then once you get into a point, it's all cross-court dinks, aggressive cross.
They're enough drop consistently that you can't reach it. Like on average, no one's hitting a drop in the kitchen every time. I return, the drop's going to be about at my nipple height.
Fair. All I'm saying is, like, if they're good enough to be able to neutralize a point like they could against a doubles team, they're going to win that if they just go aggressive cross-court rolls. Aggressive cross-court dinks is the main strategy on that. Because, like,
really like to see this.
Yeah.
But I don't hit one dink. That's the thing. It's like if you hit a drop, I drop back, I hit it firm. If the ball's up, I hit it firm. Everything's
Yeah.
firm.
And that's the way that you have to play, right?
Correct.
But if they try to do the same thing,
Control.
if they try to go to space rather than just hitting basically every shot as a cross court rolling shot, like they're 100% going to lose. That's the best strategy. It doesn't work every time, but
you give me 2, 4, 5s, and we can put any.
yeah, 4 or 5s is an exaggeration. All right, 4 or 5s is an exaggeration.
Those exaggerations, okay? Numbers
right.
are important.
We're gonna set this up. We're gonna set something or another up with this. We'll make it happen. It'll be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, those guys blasted you initially for drafting yourself to the 2022 Florida Smash.
I still get blasted.
Do you regret that at all?
Drafting myself
to the 2022 Florida Smash? Yeah.
No, man, that was the smartest thing I ever did. First of all, I got to play with J-Dub, which was fun. It doesn't say much, but I had a great time. And at the time, if the first MLP we made final, we lost to you actually up 2014 in the men's dubs. Still remember? But,
can't forget that.
I was a full-time job then. Like I was literally like coming away for 3 days to go play then and right back onto the court Monday morning to do my tennis game. So I had the time of my life. Like I hadn't competed in 10 years. So nothing was more joyful than that particular period. And that was really like the push for me to say, I want to play this full time. This is so fun. I didn't necessarily intend to play 25 weeks a year. Like now, I don't necessarily like that, but I knew then that this was really enjoyable. It's turned into be hopefully a good investment. The objective for me was always to do it with Graham and make it something that St. Pete was proud of, that we could kind of alter St. Pete with, doing events, hopefully home and away games one day. And yeah, it changed my life, making the purchase of the team and then drafting myself.
I love it. You just own it. Yeah. I mean, and it didn't turn out. Everybody wanted to shit on you pretty hard. You drafted yourself once?
Last. No, dude, I just drafted myself again.
Yeah, well, yeah. Everybody likes to rip on you for that, but like you've proved yourself a valuable draft pick each time.
I mean, I'm not bad. I wouldn't say I'm the best player in the world, but I'm not bad.
You're like the Jackie Moon of pickleball.
That'd be sick.
Oh.
I'm gonna start getting like, what was the one where he's like, if we win this game, someone with the free hot dogs and he loses on purpose?
Yeah, corn dogs, Jackie, corn dogs.
You got it. Yeah.
All right, I texted you 3 different things that we wanted out of you. You sent back a response, but I'm gonna ask them again so that people have context. What's one thing about pickleball that is a norm but drives you crazy, like something that's widely accepted but should not be? Zane, I want to hear your take too.
So I think the thing that I said is that there's, specificity on right left. I don't like the fact that certain players can have a certain rating, let's just say, but they play next to a guy on the left who's insane. And in my view, they're average. I think that it dumbs down the skill set that certain players should have, even in tennis. Like if you return on the right or the left, let's say forehand or backhand, you still have to serve. You still have to have all these alternative skills. You don't just get to do one thing. So that's one part that bothers me. I think Steve Kuhn had an awesome idea. I loved the idea. And we could maybe even see it a little bit with Ben played with Anna Bright in LA. They didn't have the best vibe on the court, let's just say. And he said that like 14 tournaments a year, you could have random partners. So one tournament I play with Zane, the next tournament I play with Thomas, the next tournament I play with Matt Wright. And we have to figure out who's playing right, who's playing left. You have to coordinate personalities. And therefore you find out legitimately who the best player is, not just who has the best partner or the best system, but legitimately like who is the best guy. And like I always use real clear stats on that, which favors me because my stats are always good. But if all things are created equal and we have the same partner in the same circumstance, then who's the best? I don't play next to J-Dub. J-Dub's really good. I don't play next to Ben. Ben's really good. Those alter the scales too much. So I don't think you really get to see like who the best players are.
Mm-hmm. So having some sort of, at least maybe a handful of tournaments where you have somewhat random partners and see how they can adapt. Yeah, MLP is the closest thing that we have to that, right?
Right, it's the closest thing we have, and I think you've done probably a better job than anyone in adapting to playing right, left, being alpha, being beta. Are you good in mixed? Are you a good singles player? Are you good with personalities? Which is another thing I've given Zane credit for. Like I think he's a really good partner. I think he's very capable of pulling the best out of the people he plays with. There's people who are really, really bad at that. And that's a skill that should be talked about. You have it in basketball. You have guys that lead teams, that lead squads, to get the best out of their players. I don't think we see that all the time. We see these like little clicks, and I think it would be more intriguing, have a lot more storylines if you have, Ben playing with Thomas Wilson one week, and then see how they do. Have Riley play with myself or Zane, see how they do. That would be cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that sort of the good partner mentality. The guy who's like hype machine, keeps it positive, hypes you up. I played with Tropical in a tournament, and he's just like the best hype man of all time, right?
He's the man, dude. He was like the guy who hyped me up I think like the first or second APP I played. He followed me around all day in Grand Rapids and just hyped.
Yeah.
He was hammered.
Just in your corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I commented on his In-N-Out shirt. That's all it took. I was like, In-N-Out, I love In-N-Out burger. And that was it. He followed me for the rest of the day.
Come on. Well, shout out. I haven't seen a lot from him lately.
He's funny, man.
I haven't seen a lot.
He's working. He's got a job.
Well, I'd say if I'm going to answer that question, it would be I'm somebody that likes experimentation, right? With whatever it is. I think pickleball, if I had one thing about pickleball that's the norm that drives me crazy is that there are so many norms that people seem reluctant to at least like screw around with. Like, why are we at 2 out of 3 games to 11? Why are the court dimensions set and not tinkered with whatsoever? Like, there doesn't seem, people are stuck in the way of, well, look how much pickleball has grown. It's an incredible sport. We don't need to change anything about it. I'm like, well, the world changes, right? Like, the conditions that made pickleball conducive to people wanting to play changed, right? Like, for the first 30 years, nobody wanted to play, and then something about this world made pickleball actually interesting. It was in the right place at the right time. Is it going to continue to be that way? I don't know. Like, we talk about the problem of professional pickleball as a viable viewer sport. Like, I just love the idea of tinkering, because you can always go back to what works, right? Do 3 tournaments with the new serve rule like the PPA did. Great. We can figure out whether it works, whether it doesn't. We can always go back to the norm. Screw around with widening the net post by a couple inches. See what you get. It sucks. Okay. At the end of the day, this is just going to be a blip over the time period that is pickleball. If we really think that the sport itself is here to stay, if we experiment with these little tiny things every now and then, like, you can always go back. And if it works better, stick with it. So,
plus, storylines are never bad, right? We tried this, and at least you have a new storyline to talk about, as opposed to, hey, Ben and Annalie won.
Yeah, and maybe you don't always want to be doing that at the PPA, but like maybe there is, a Wild West tournament that we do, or I just think experimenting with whatever it is, different camera, still trying to just improve. So right. I think you have to try new things to try and improve. So
agreed. I mean, if you have 1 million viewers, like, maybe we could talk about that. But if you're at 10,000 viewers and that's not covering, then yeah, you got to make some change.
Mm-hmm. So that's my thing. What about you, Tommy?
I don't know. I didn't have an answer for that one.
Come on, you can give it a shout out. You can try something.
What a cop out.
Yeah, soft.
No, I don't have anything. All right. Funny, weird, or controversial story from the past few tournaments. Can be anything.
Oh, I don't know what I put. Hold on. I think I got some things in my head.
You want us to read what you put? You probably don't.
I mean, I certainly called someone out, but we'll just say that there's some folks that, we'll just leave it like this. Cheating is very, very prevalent, right? Mm-hmm. And there are some that will look you in the eye and say, I promise you, and they cheat. There's just no way to go about it. So it's like, at what point and I think you guys have referenced like Salome the most I've heard on this one, which has been egregious. It's hard to argue. And, I always reference Tyler, Alshon, I'll throw them under the bus. Those guys have hooked me terribly. So if someone misses a call and it's tight, I give them the benefit of the doubt. Hey, they might have missed it. But when it's ridiculous, when it's this far, I don't believe the human eye is capable, when you've been watching balls your whole life, that you can miss it. So at what point do you have refs or something in play that can monitor that? Because Zane's had like a great comment. Like, if I really wanted to win, well, I just call every ball out, and there's no recourse, right? You can just do it over and over.
No, Zane said you should do that.
Right, you should do that, right?
Yeah, if that's your objective. Yes, that's what you should do. Now I'm going to get flamed because I cheated at the last tournament in Red Rock. So I'm going to get shit on.
Yeah,
Partially deserved. Yeah, I spin served Alshon. That's cheating, dude. I'm not going to deny that I
Twice.
didn't. Yeah, I did it twice.
Called?
No. Dude, I tossed it up to my face. There were like 5 different things wrong with my serve. The spin on it was like the least part of it.
How did I not see this? This is insane.
It's on memes. You can go to memes of pickleball and look at it. It's pretty funny.
Okay. I'll check that out. Yeah, I think that just, Zane and I played a match in particular where a ball hit a guy, and literally in the same point, Zane hit an ATP at 6 inches in. Both of them professed their innocence, and it's just like, it's gotten tiring. It's just like, at what point do you have character and like some I don't care if you're an asshole. I don't care, but just be straight about it. Like, at least say, yeah, I cheat. Like Zane just said, I cheated. Respect. Thank you for being honest. That's all I'm asking. I don't care, but just call it straight.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's one of 2 times that I had the intent to cheat. Now, like in my somewhat defense, and we're not going to really defend it that hard, like, first off, I thought there was a missed call, and so, like, I wanted to get even. The second one was at 310, and just for good measure. Like, that one was more to prove a point, like, this ref is we're supposed to be playing in Utah, this ref's in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like, so, and then one time I tried to hook Jack Foster, but I think I actually still made the right call. It doesn't change the fact that, like, I thought he had hooked me earlier in the match. He had a passing shot on his match point that I think actually was going out, but if it was in, I was still going to call it out because that's the way that the match had gone. So I don't think I actually did end up cheating in that one, but my intent was to cheat if needed. And those are
cheat right.
Those are the only 2 times that I can recall that I was just like, yeah, that was cheating.
I mean, junior tennis, I used to cheat terribly. Like, if somebody cheated me first, it was like, all right, you want to play the game, serve, middle of the box, catch, out. If you want to do it, we can do it. Like, that used to be my kind of stance on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done that. I did that in tennis a couple times in my real long, high-level tennis experience.
Well, we had the conversation with the 2 dudes that play now that played college tennis with you that aren't the fairest as well, that play pickle.
Yeah, there's some more and more people coming over. Previously people had been kind of leaving that at the door, it seemed like, right? But I think as more and more of you start to see your old crew from tennis now seeing the same familiar faces in pickleball, like, I think you have a history with this person, and you know that they cheated you in this other sport, like, they're probably going to cheat you again in this sport, right? And so I think as more tennis players come over, and no offense, like, I mean, I'm a tennis player, you're a tennis player, you're a much better tennis player than I is, but when you've been in those, you're not going to give somebody that hooked you, even if it was 20 years ago in junior tennis, you're not going to give that person the benefit of the doubt when it is 8-8 in the third and they make a questionable call.
It was funny. Someone asked me this the other day, not to tail, but they asked, did you have these like personal vendettas against players in tennis? And I was like, honestly, we never did because we don't call it our own lines. And the scale of like how many people you play against is so different. Where here it's so unique that you have 30 of the same people every week. You see their faces. You're calling your own lines. It's a very bizarre dynamic.
Why aren't people calling each other out more then, if it is so egregious and blatant?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
It's awkward to call somebody out because you have to see them the next.
Cheating?
Well, you also can't win the battle. Like, it's not like the ref is going to be like, yeah, I agree with you, because they're generally not looking. They're watching only the kitchen line, so it's not like you're going to win the war.
Right, but no, maybe you would lose that battle, but you would potentially win the war per se, because shame is an effective tool. And if you call them out every time,
not too many. If you're already cheating, you don't have any shame.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying like on the court. I'm saying like afterward on social media or whatever. Like, go pull that clip and put it on your Instagram and be like,
yeah, but who looks worse than that? Like, if I post that Travis hooked me, if someone
blatantly cheated against you in like a pivotal moment, they look worse.
Our best case study of that, it was Sincola doing it to Rafa from like 2 years ago in Atlanta. I don't think either of them looked good. It's like mutually assured destruction.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, call.
But at least now we have Callie Chris doing hooks of the week per my suggestion.
Yeah.
So Travis, last podcast I said we just gotta shame these people, and I think he actually did it.
Yeah, he did it.
He's a shameless fool. I like that dude. He's shameless. He just says it as it is every time.
He did it, but then what he didn't realize is like, so in the moment on the court as they're like reviewing it, they're reviewing the wrong shot. So
I saw that one.
They're replaying it over and over again. It's like, that's not the one we're talking about. So like you couldn't tell.
It was in the Pablo match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had the wrong ball up. I don't understand how they got that wrong, but the truck got it wrong.
Yeah. But he did do it, and I like that segment, and I think it's a good way to hold people accountable to a degree. It's in the back. It's in the back of your mind. I don't want to end up on Hook of the Week.
On Hook of the Week, on Sorry Not Sorry.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go. I think PPA's got to collab with them on some of those. Actually, I did have somebody from the PPA text me that they're considering doing something like that. I don't know whether that was just like this guy listened to the podcast and thought it was funny, like maybe we'll do it. I don't know how serious that was, but somebody from the PPA texted me like, that's a good idea, we'll consider it.
Oh, the other funny story from the past few weeks was Colin Johns getting bronze.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other story.
Yeah. Dylan Frazier meme. Why do you think that is?
Why do I think it is?
Yeah.
Or why do I know it is?
Oh, just
paddle. Come on, man. It's insane. I played this guy before in mixed. He would hit a drive, and it's comical. It would be like, and now it's so you can actually buy skill, buy force, buy spin with something that is a pure detriment. So you asked me earlier, Thomas, do I have a long-term hope for the business of pickleball? This will be the demise of pickleball if things like this are not outlawed, because the poor little girl over at Crescent is going to get hit in the face at 112 miles an hour, and she's not going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so watching Colin suddenly be a force in mixed and get bronze, literally buying force, and he, of course, he's not buying it. He's getting it. They make it. But to see that improvement of power and spin was like, whoa, next level.
Yeah, over the course of a very short period of time.
Yeah, he's not doing anything wrong. He's playing within the rules. Like, I credit to him. He's definitely worked on his mixed game. It's gotten better. Credit to him. But, I mean, dude's hitting the ball 15 miles an hour faster than he was prior.
So, all right, let me pretend to be Colin here, right? And you're taking your stance.
Yeah.
I am just getting a paddle, and I have to get it tested like anybody else. Well, what's your problem? I played well.
I think the metrics for the testing system are primitive, and they are not at the point where they can have a exit velocity that's readable and a grit test that is accurate to showcase what the paddle is actually doing in someone's hands.
Mm-hmm. Well, Selkirk agrees with you. Have you heard about this?
No.
So we have a letter from Selkirk to their pro teams. I'll read it off. Should we read it?
I'm excited about this.
Do you want to read this?
You can.
All right. To all Selkirk pro players, this was from a couple of weeks ago. This letter is to inform you of an urgent and important directive from Selkirk regarding recent abnormally powerful paddles. As an organization, we do not regularly insert ourselves into matters related to pro play or rules. However, there are times when we believe matters affect the future of the sport we all love, and we must take action to protect its integrity. Selkirk's opinions regarding abnormally powerful paddles. These paddles significantly alter the nature of the game, not just for pro players, but for the average community player. These paddles may be unsafe for players to use. These paddles have the potential to significantly and negatively impact pickleball's growth and popularity if widely adopted. These paddles may not consistently pass standard requirements and in many cases may not pass a challenge at PPA events. They talk about racquetball's downfall, and they give a directive to all Selkirk pro players. Challenge all abnormally powerful paddles at PPA events. Paddles to challenge include Gearbox Pro paddles and Yola Alpha paddles.
You can't challenge anymore.
Yes. So I think that was implemented as this got circulated.
Got it.
Selkirk will pay for any costs associated with challenging paddles.
But you can't challenge paddles.
So
no,
now,
you can't challenge anymore. Once the paddle tested and it's cleared to play, it's cleared. You can't say after the match, hey, that's now delaminated, now it's illegal. You can no longer do that.
Right, and part of the reason why paddle challenges were important previously is because the argument has been made, and actually this argument stemmed from certain players that are now using a Yola paddle, that I could give my paddle to you for testing. You give it back, you said it passed. I go to my car with a mallet, and I'm just smashing the core of the paddle. I crush the core, and now I've got a highly illegal paddle that apparently I can use for the rest of the day.
Correct.
Right? Obviously, it's not going to pass tomorrow, but I brought 24 of them with me to the tournament. So,
well, Zane, as you always say, like, trash is trash and facts are facts. Doesn't matter who the trash comes from, where it is. Like, I side with them. I think they're spot on this front, and it is a detriment to the sport. You weren't meant to be able to hit passing shots off your back foot. I just don't think that's what the game was meant to do. It's kind of the beauty of it is that, and I'm sure you can relate to this, and I can relate with my Crescent buddies. As much tennis as I've played, and whether I'm more athletic or not, I can go have fun with them simply because I can't overwhelm them with power, force, or athleticism. And now you seemingly can. And that sucks because the buddies that I play with that are 65 years old and I like playing with them, if I was to use one of these paddles, they would hate playing with me. It wouldn't be fun anymore. So kudos to Selkirk on my front, from my end. Like, take a stand. If that's the stance you take, then stand by it because you're right.
Yeah, no, I agree with this. Like, I think that these paddles should be challenged, and I think it just calls into question exactly how some of these developments are going through the approval process. It's something that we've spoken about time and time again on here. Is like there are so many issues with these paddles. Like, the whole testing process is kind of a joke. At this point, like, what do we even do about it? Like,
the Pro Pickle Labs guys agree that these paddles shouldn't be legal, but they don't. Their hands are tied. Like, they're at the mercy of the PPA. They agree that, like, we shouldn't have to test 10 paddles to pass 2. The metrics are insane. They're coming off, but they can't do anything about it unless the PPA steps up and, like, look, we can't do this. This is stupid. Guys are hitting the shit out of the ball. Whatever it is, then the testing is irrelevant until that takes place.
And PPA is walking kind of a line, pretending that they're fully in line with USAP, mostly not. Like, you still have to be USAP approved, but we have different standards to test for PPL than what you have to. So companies are sending one batch of paddles for USAP approval, and then their players are getting something else for their thing. What do you like? Okay, in tennis, what racket did you use?
I mean, I used a variety, but towards the end, I used a Yonex V-Core.
A Yonex V-Core. Was the Yonex V-Core that you used off the rack, or was it something that you were kind of made for yourself?
Off the rack, but then I sent it to a racket customization company, and they made sure the weights and swing weights were what they were. But they do have pro stock models. Yonex in particular generally doesn't do that. They have their racks off the rack are very, very good.
Mm-hmm. But, like, you are allowed to go modify your racket in tennis.
Correct.
You're not technically allowed to do that in pickleball, with the exception of weight and grip, right?
Yeah, I just think that the variations in technology from company to company, like the real adjustments you can make in tennis are with string. Not that's what's making contact with the ball. It's not the frame itself. So you can basically try a variety of different things: tungsten, graphite, titanium, and they're not going to have an outlandish response like we have right now with a floating core, or the hell it's called, propulsion core. There was actually, I referenced this to Graham in our pod. There was a time frame when they came out with something called spaghetti strings.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's actually been banned from tennis.
Correct. And you had, like, club players suddenly beating, guys who were playing on the tour because the advantage was so substantial. That's the only thing that I can compare this to. And I've used this analogy. It's like they're playing with metal bats and we're playing with wood. It's such a substantial juice up of the ball. So I don't know. Like, anytime you see that the primary sponsor is making those paddles, and look, credit to Yola, like, they made a great paddle. Their paddle's fantastic, but it's up to the powers that be to be like, hey, this is not the way the game should go.
Yeah. So you mentioned the baseball thing. I think that our paddles should have actually a far lower standard of power than amateur paddles. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Spin's great. Spin creates interesting points. Power creates stupidity.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically in tennis, you can use more or less whatever you want, with the exception of spaghetti strings. Are there any regulations on other string materials or anything, or is that the only thing?
Like you can't put things on your strings. So I don't think you can put like super glue on your strings. I think that was like tested for a little while, but there can't be certain substances on your strings. There's a length gap. Like you can't go over a certain metric. I think it's 31 inches. You can't have the head size over a certain metric. It might be 125 or 130 as far as the square inches. So there are things in place like that, but honestly, those don't provide competitive advantages. If you do try those rackets, they're dumb. They're stupid. They're like a rec player who can't swing the racket fast.
Mm-hmm. And they're also like, all you need is a measure, a tape measure to figure out whether your racket's legal or not.
It's crazy, like that's what this has come down to, is that this testing, it's become like a battle of the paddle, and that's what I reference. It's a battle of the paddle. Like, who has a spinnier, better paddle will probably have some success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. That's a bit of a mess.
I haven't heard anybody like complaining about it on the amateur level or like rec courts yet. So I feel like it hasn't really.
I have in forums and whatnot. Yeah.
In forums, I've heard people like going to play tournaments where they play someone with a delaminated paddle. Delaminated paddles are a big issue at our park.
Yeah.
People are just roping the ball, and like, again, credit to Yola. Like, there's probably 10 of the new Yolas at our park. Everybody wants it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard, Caitlin Kerr is an example. She plays like her rec games and little tournaments, and she plays people with the gearbox. It's like, it's headhunting. I'm going to get hurt out here. So I've heard it a fair bit.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this year, when we first switched to the Vulcan ball, which seemed to be a little bit faster, it was kind of cold, and players were coming out with some of these first prototypes. I, like, legit was thinking for, a week and a half, like, this sucks. I'm having zero fun playing with this combination of things.
I had the same feeling, Zane.
Yeah.
The same. I was wagering that, like, the forehand speed was roughly 50% faster than the prior year. People thought I was crazy, but then PB Studio just did a thing like exit velocity on the new paddles relative to the average paddle last year was about a 50% increase on exit velocity.
That's insane. We made this, the sport got 50% faster overnight.
And 10%, okay, fine. But 50%, like, dude, Deckel hits a counter from 50% faster. Yeah, the point's probably going to end. And it ruined the sport. Like, everyone loves an extended hand battle. Suddenly you don't have them. The ball is up. The point is over. Like, what are we not grasping here?
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. I think we all know Theragun by Therabody. Deep, powerful massage in a simple, easy-to-use design. They make the little travel guns now. We've got the more standard one, the big one here. Super popular at the pickleball courts. I think my dad has like 7 of them. But you can also get the travel version to throw in your backpack. Refresh and repair your body with Theragun Prime, our powerful 16mm percussive massage therapy device made simple for active lifestyles. Engineered, listen to this, Zane, engineered to prioritize only the essentials. I thought I was going to say not only the essentials. Only the essentials, featuring our scientifically proven deep muscle massage in a simple, durable design to provide fast, effective relief from aches and pains, accelerate recovery, reduce tightness, and improve circulation. Pair with the Therabody app to follow easy step-by-step routines so you can show up every day ready to take on a new challenge. We ran a survey. 33% of pickleball players that read the Dink newsletter actually use massage guns for recovery, performance optimization, all that good stuff.
Do you want to, should we start talking anything Red Rock do you want to touch on? We'll do this.
I mean, the biggest thing was like Fed, but what? Go ahead.
All right, no, go ahead. What was Fed?
No,
Fed
we already
thing.
talked about it.
The delayed.
You say Jack Sock,
Just
new paddle.
Fed becoming number 1.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought you were talking about. So we have something written here. Jack Sock not happy with Fed's delayed decision to challenge in his men's singles final. Yeah, that doesn't sound that interesting. All right, what's your take on Andre savagely and brutally obliterating a dink at Lina while she was on the ground.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's not in the spirit of the game, Travis.
Come on, man. It's competitive. He didn't hit the shit out of her. It's almost like he smashed it at her. He just hit a normal ball at her.
Well, he could have just hit it to the open court.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
What about Hayden teeing off on you when you guys were playing? And
you laughed at me.
That's part of the game, bro.
Yeah, you literally, I didn't even know it. I looked back for you, and you turned and laughed at me. That's insane. You're supposed to be like, don't do that to my partner. I'm gonna take. You didn't do that. You laughed. Oh, I don't wanna hear
You deserved it.
Oh, 100%.
You totally deserved it. No, the comments on the Lita thing were ridiculous. Like it was mostly people saying like, yeah, that's like part of the game. He tapped it at her, but like the amount of comments that were like,
have some class.
Have some class. Like,
yeah. Should have hit it away.
What's that?
Do you legitimately think he should have hit it to the open court? Or you thought it was fair?
No, I was fucking around. He should have hit it harder at her. I tried to find this clip. It was MLP from 2022 or maybe even the year. No, it was 2022, and it was match point. And it was me and Paris against Olivia McMillan, I think, and Ben Newell or somebody. And he fell and slipped on our match point, and I had an overhead, and he's in the fetal position, and I drilled him hard as I could.
Yeah.
And like it's fair is fair. Like I mean, I wasn't really like I was aiming at him. Like I'm not gonna I wasn't like let me hit this guy. I want to hit him, but I was aiming in his direction because he's on the ground. Like
it's also a wiffle ball. Like if it was a baseball or even a tennis ball, I'd be like, all right, like maybe it's a wiffle ball.
Right. So I found it kind of comical that like it was a mid-height ball that he really, if he tried to go anywhere else, I was going to get. Right. But Lina was sitting there like in the kitchen. He hit it to her. Like that's the only way that he wins that point on the next shot, basically.
Yeah.
And the amount of hate that he got for that, I think, was ridiculous.
And he apologized right away too. Sorry, I had to do it.
Right. Also, he like hit her with a wiffle ball going 10 miles per hour.
He wasn't even like, I did it.
I was like, Lina, get the hell out of my way. Let me play singles. Come on.
He didn't do the Federico. He didn't do the Federico to Anna Lee. It's not like
the take that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Andre's a jerk. He needs to clean up his act. What in the Hayden one though, did something lead up to that, or was it just like
tons? I basically Jeff Warnick, who's top shelf shit talker, he was telling me that Hayden was faster than me as we were starting the match, and I told him I was going to lob Hayden at least 5 times during the match, and then I told Hayden I'm going to lob you 5 times in game 1. So every time that I did, I was like 5, 4, and I did the little NBA thing, like when the guy's small, they like put their hand really close to the floor. So I did that on the first lob, and Hayden was pissed. Like I was surprised. I thought he was going to bring it back, but he held on to a lot of frustration until he just body bagged me solid. But he was not happy with the aggression of my trash talk.
Yeah. Well, you were like, yeah, bring it. Like you liked it. You were laughing, Zane.
I was laughing my ass off. Because also the funny thing is, I saw that coming too. Like
I did too, dude. I couldn't get out of the way until I saw it, but I couldn't move fast enough.
But like you guys were, I mean, Hayden's just he's one of the boys. Like you guys were fine afterwards. Like it was, and also you got him. The goal was 5 per game. I think Travis got him probably 12 or 13 times.
I think it was 13 total.
And then Travis, towards the end of that, I think we were at like 9-4 or something. And you turned to me and he was like, the lob's open.
No, dude, that was at like 9-9 game 2. And I was like, you
was it really?
Yeah. And then you finally threw it, I think, at 9-9 game 2.
Was it really that close when I did it? Because I don't lob a ton.
No, your lob was perfect.
It was. I mean, like it was like 4 feet over Callan. Yeah, like perfect. I say like 70 to 80% of the tour is crushing that back.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there anything like that that's completely legal, technically fair, but if somebody does it, you're like, come on, man.
No, that's the direction that this game is going with these paddles. You can't get out of the way of the ball, especially with these new ones. And I genuinely think doubles in 15 years, when this is a more of an established sport, is going to be mostly big dudes, similar to tennis actually. 6'3", 6'4" is the norm there, with some exceptions of smaller guys. But I think it's going to be big guys because the only disadvantage that they have is they can't get out of the way of the ball. So you're going to get the small guys who just absolutely clobber them. That's the only way the small guys score points in the long run in
You said
dubs.
that. The speed ups will all be body bags. They'll just be going for it.
It'll be a combo of body bags and change ups. Like,
and
so
your little fake thing, your little change up thing.
Yeah, the fakes, like, yeah, the little pump fake
gyration thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. I got to work on that.
It's a good gyration.
Really good at gyrating.
He's super good at gyrating. Insane.
But yeah, Travis carried me to a bronze over in Los Cab. Travis really did carry, because like whatever it was, 3 minutes into warm up, I get like a back spasm. Like I hit a two-handed backhand and like my entire back locks up. I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna be good. I didn't even know if I was gonna be able to like.
I didn't think you were. I thought we were done.
I thought so too. As soon as it happened, I started to get a little bit better, but like I was hardly moving. And Travis played like 65% of the court, at least, probably 2/3 of the court conservatively, and played lights out. Like we beat Matt and Thomas. Played me on the right side. Travis was just dominant with the both play and the shit talk.
Thank you.
The shit talk was quite good.
I played well. I was happy to finally scream at some people again. I'd been a little bit too nice with the fake nice folks. I stopped that pattern.
We like that. So who in your estimation, like we like to do a lot of power rankings on here, who are the top 5 shit talkers in pickleball?
Oh man, we just went through this. Jeff Warnick, you got to put really, really high. And before I move on to that, I want to credit Zane really quick. For the fact that his back was as bad as it was, never complained. Hard to do. The only time you complain is if I reference, like, are you okay? Because you would hit a ball and go, I was like, dude, you're fine. All right.
My attitude was like, I'm not going to hurt myself more. I'll suck it up. Like, at any point, if I thought I was going to, I was risking more injury, that's when I'm out. But, like, if something hurts, I'll deal with it.
You were stable. You were solid. You did a great job. Okay, back to the trash talk. I like Brandon French, and I reference him because I think there's people, me included, who I can get aggravated when I talk trash. Like I can make it personal, and sometimes that's a benefit. It can go the opposite way. I feel like French is like the puppet master. It never bothers him. He's not getting hyphy. He's just dictating it. He's controlling it. And so I put him really high on the list. I find Matt to be the most annoying trash talker. There's something about his voice, the way he walks. It's just so annoying.
It's March of the Penguins.
God, it's frustrating. But he's very good at it. And he pisses me off. So he should keep doing that. That's 3.
T's got tennis volleys. I remember that one. Me and Matt played against you in college. He's got tennis volleys. Keep hitting that drive at him. He's got tennis volleys. I liked that. I liked that a lot.
That one was good. I'm trying to think who else is good. I don't know. Hayden is top shelf for me. That's why I was sad he didn't come with it. I thought he might come at me hard. I don't know. Outside of that, there's guys who get aggravated, bravado, Julian gets really, but I don't necessarily think it's good trash talk. He's just, obnoxious. Mm-hmm. And nothing against him. It's just, the andiamo's so loud and it's in your face and but it's not witty. Some guys are really witty.
Sure. So there's a difference between a Rafa yoo-hoo versus a Matt Wright, that spot's broken. We're going to get a lot of good looks.
That's one of my favorite ones.
That's an all-timer.
Just stay there. We're going to get a lot of good looks.
That's an all-timer.
Let's top shelf. I put Rafa there just because, it's so unique. It's so country bumpkin. And don't see anything like it.
What do you think about these guys who are doing the tennis elongated grunts and moans when they're hitting? Does that bug you guys at all?
I don't pay attention to it. I'm accustomed to it, but it's stupid. If you grunt a little bit, I think that's normal. Exhaling the air is good. It relaxes you. But if you're doing an elongated grunt that's probably designed to impact the other player, stop.
Yeah, especially in rec play. nothing worse than those people in right play.
I'm desensitized to it because before I moved here, my normal high-level group of 4 was Rick Witzkin, Dave Weinbach, and Althoff Merchant.
Yeah, just
And so like
vocal.
the noises that came from that court were something else.
Althoff top 5. I mean, do you have Althoff in your top 5?
Shit talkers?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
very good. He's very good.
I put him in there. So I should have had Althoff early because the hip thrust can be very, very annoying.
Althoff, but also Althoff will
He
he will shit talk you and make you feel like you're doing something wrong, like because he's like he'll say something nice, but then it'll be super like it'll actually be really condescending. He's like, that's the best shot you've hit over the last 5 points or something like that. Like it's
so they're all backhand.
Yeah. It's very there's levels there that you have to be able to pick up on, and you have to realize, well, you have to know Althoff enough to know that he's actually being an asshole. He's not paying you a compliment. And then you start to realize how good his shit talk really is.
Okay. Yeah, it's got depth. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're at 112. I think we're at about time here. Travis,
I enjoyed it.
thanks for coming on. We'll get some good clips out of that one. That's good.
So.
Yeah. All right. Go edit your Wikipedia. Got to change that.
I'll go change it right now, Thomas. I'm gonna go. I don't even know how to do that, but I'll somehow.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, dude. We'll send you an invoice for Stop Alzheimer's now.
Yes. You know my number.
This
Motherfucker.
What a guy. Thanks for coming on, man.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun, yeah.